Quick video today. We're going to plant these heirloom tomato and pepper seedlings that I started about a month and a half ago. I'm actually about 3 weeks behind and they need to go in the dirt. So today I'm going to put them in buckets. So I started some heirloom tomato and pepper plants about the end of March. And it is now May 16th and they need to go outside. So I've never done this before. I'm going to put them in buckets and just make a little container garden up on the patio porch because I don't have time to do raised beds this year or garden or whatever. And I really only ever eat tomatoes and peppers mostly. So I salvaged some seeds from our garden in 2016 that we had saved. These are heirloom. I didn't use anything out of a packet. And they actually germinated, so we're going to see if they actually grow and produce tomatoes this year. Anyway, right now I'm going to start building some buckets. So I think it was Daniel Arms or Arms Family Homestead I got this idea from, so shout out to them. I've got a bunch of this black pipe left. I'm going to cut it into little sections and put a section in each bucket to be kind of like a water reservoir. And then we will put it in the bottom of these buckets that I have left over. I have bleached and cleaned these out with Dr. Bronner soap, so they're all good. And I've got a bunch of 2-inch PVC that I had laying down in the boneyard. So I think I've got everything I need to build a basic bucket garden. So let's find out. So I've got about 20 of these drywall mud buckets left over from when we built the house. And it's got the HDPE number 2 on the bottom, which means, based on what I've researched, that as long as you clean them out, they're good to use for growing food. So I'm basically just going to measure this, which is 10 inches. Now I'm going to cut a bunch of 10-inch pieces off of that black pipe and put it in the bottom of the bucket, and that'll act as sort of a little air gap. Now I just mush the pipe down into the bottom of the bucket, creates an air gap, and it's tight enough that I don't think much, if any, dirt will get in the pipe. And this is solid pipe, it's not perforated. So since I'm using 2-inch PVC pipe as my feeder tube, I'm going to cut a 2.5-inch hole right here to put the tube in, just with the hole saw. Like so. Cool. Now I'm just going to cut 18-inch lengths diagonally on this 2-inch PVC. And that's it. Put in your dirt and some fertilizer and a plant. Now I'm going to drill a 1/2-inch hole 5 inches up from the bottom, which is right there. That's your drain hole. There are no holes in the bottom of the bucket. So when you fill this, water comes up, drains out here as your overflow, and then your roots will wick water up from the bottom. Now I got to do that about 20 times. Lots of buckets. This stuff is nice and light and fluffy. And it has some fertilizer in it, but we're going to put some more stuff in here. So I'm using float trays, just styrofoam float trays. You put it in a flat tote, fill it up with water, make the tray float, and it waters it from underneath. This is a bunch of different salad greens. I don't know if I'm going to actually plant those in buckets or not, but they grew. These are my tomatoes and peppers. Like I said, I didn't use new seeds. I used stuff that we saved from 2016 just to see if it would germinate. And I got enough, really, to fill all my buckets. But basically, I made a spreadsheet with the equal number of rows and columns that there are cells here. It's like 8 by 16. And that way I could type in what the variety is that I planted in whatever cell. Just got it hooked up to a mechanical time switch. Turns on and off every day. Once you get it set up, you don't have to do anything. Just let stuff grow. Works pretty good. So I got this grow light off Amazon. Works really good. It was like 120 bucks. I'll leave a link to it. easy. So then I can add a light down there, two there. I could really expand this if I wanted to, but this year is just an experiment. And we got about 12 done. I'll show you what I'm doing here. I'm just using regular Miracle-Gro potting mix. It works really good for me. It's got fertilizer, plant food in it. It's nice and light and fluffy. So when I get it to about 3 to 4 inches from the top, add 1/8 of a cup of bone meal and about 1/4 of a cup of blood meal. All right, so put in my bone and blood meal. Give that a little stir. Mix it in real good. And fill the rest to the top. And the good news is I'm getting about 4.5 buckets per bag of soil, so I'll definitely have enough soil. These are 50-quart bags. And they're about, I think they were about $14 or $15 at the big box store. So the only money I've spent on this whole project is that potting mix. Had the buckets, had the PVC, I had the black pipe, had all this fertilizer from when we did the garden last time. All right, I'm gonna just start by taking the best plants, and basically you just lift them right out. And the roots have grown down through the hole in the bottom. So I get a popsicle stick and just kind of ease it up out of there. See how long the root is? All right, I'm going to pinch off these bottom branches. All these little hairs are going to become roots and feeders, so I'm going to bury it all the way up to these leaves. And then I'll add more dirt up to the top. Now I'm going to do that with all the other buckets. It's pretty simple. So with a drain hole 5 inches up from the bottom of the bucket, seems to hold about 1.5 gallons of water in the bottom. So I'm gonna definitely be bringing the hose up. Yeah, see it's draining. So I'll be bringing the hose up to fill these tubes, because I'm not gonna do this gallon by gallon every day. Yes, this is much easier. My last step will be to hit it with this liquid seaweed and fish fertilizer. Don't need a lot. That's about it. So I've got it fertilized, everything's watered, everything's in. Got everything oriented so I can feed, water it directly. And as these grow up, I'll just trellis it, tie it to the railing. Hopefully we'll get some 4-foot tall plants. I don't know. So I've seen a bunch of videos on YouTube about how to do bucket gardens and create the containers and do the self-wicking thing. And I had these materials laying around that I needed to get rid of wanted to try this method. Hopefully it works. Let me know if you try it. Let me know if it works for you. But check back with me end of June and we'll see whether it actually does work. We'll see you in the next one.